How's it going, everybody? This is Top Drabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, it's time for another edition of Things That I Hate. In this series, I talk about all the things that really seem to tick me off, whether it's something that's really small that gets on my nerve, or something that really sends me over the edge. And with the autumn season beginning next weekend, I'm going to be sharing with you a few things that I hate the most about fall. Now, obviously, this is the season after summer, and usually this is when things start to cool down just a little bit. However, there are still a few things about the fall that really seem to tick me off and really makes me feel a little annoyed. And the first of which is the weather. Now, usually during the summer, you gotta worry a lot about the very hot temperatures. Usually, it will be somewhere around the high 80s or the low 90s. Here, for at least the early portion of the fall, the weather is usually mostly somewhere around the lower 70s or the upper 60s. And so usually, it would be kind of ideal. But it's once you get later into the fall that the weather starts to get really harsh. Usually, most of the time in the fall, the temperatures are going to drop dramatically. So usually, most of the time, there will usually be temperatures around somewhere in around the mid 50s, and then there will be times where the temperatures will be around the 40s, but usually that would be a little bit fine. Like usually when I go out for a drive or maybe go out for a walk, usually that would be alright. But once it gets down to the lower 30s, that's when I really can't stand it, because let's say you have to go out and you see your windshield completely covered in ice, you have to spend a lot of time trying to get that off your windshields. And also whenever you're going out for a walk, you really have to put a lot of extra layers of clothing on, because really it's going to be freezing, and especially once you get into the winter time later on. Trust me, the colder it is, the more and more likely you're going to have to try to find some heat. Like for example, if you have like an AC, you would have to turn that into a heater because you really need to keep yourself warm, or maybe even find an extra sweater or two obviously just to keep yourself warm. In fact, there are a lot of clothes that sometimes you would have that are short sleeves, and usually I'm not kind of the winter kind of guy. I usually enjoy the spring and summer weather. It's once you get into this weather where I have to have a very long look at my closet to see how many long sleeve shirts I can find, because I usually hate this kind of weather. So yeah, obviously it starts to get really cold during the fall, and unfortunately you don't have many options to keep yourself warm once it gets into the latter half of it and into the winter. And as a result, if you don't have the right clothing, hey, it is really going to hurt you. And really, the only thing that will really keep me warm at this point is my face whenever I have a long beard on it, because really, that's the only way my face even stays warm as well, and I just hate that. And of course, once you get later in the fall, the other thing that you also have to worry about is raking leaves. And trust me, that is very common during this time, because usually during the spring and the summer, the trees, they usually blossom with a whole bunch of leaves that really make it bloom over the spring and summer weather. During the fall, however, they start to turn to different colors, like for example, red, brown, or some kind of orange color, and that's when they begin to fall off. And they fall everywhere, on your front lawn, in your backyard, literally everywhere. And the reason why I hate that is because you have to rake them. Now obviously this is a very long and grueling process, and it really depends on how many leaves are in your backyard or on your front lawn that have fallen there. And trust me, you have to use a lot. Unfortunately, I can't really use like a shovel sometimes, because sometimes there have to be like a rake that I have to use, because my dad, whenever I'm having to shovel with him, he will usually be using that shovel, and everything else there is just rakes. And that just only makes it a much bigger mess, because then you really have to spend a whole lot more time trying to put everything together, and yet you're only doing more damage to the leaves instead of really just putting them together in one pile, so that way you can put them in the trash can and just put them at the front of your house. And this is the same exact process that you gotta keep going. You know, it's obviously going to be happening a lot throughout October, and then a couple of times in November. Trust me, leaves are going to be falling off quite a bit, because once you finish cleaning up, there's going to be a lot more leaves that fall. And then obviously you gotta go back and do it over and over again. And sometimes that just really risks giving you some sort of a back injury as a result. You gotta do it obviously, you know, as the fall goes around, you obviously gonna have to deal with a lot of leaves falling from the trees, and you gotta obviously do a lot of cleanup as a result. And really you gotta do it 3 or 4 times until it really hits the winter time. But still, it is not fun. And if you're doing that for such a long period of time, it's really gonna make you feel tired. I know I gotta do it, but however, still, it's just really risks giving me an injury as well. And I just hate that. The other thing, when you're young, one thing that you really dread is having to go back to school. And that was exactly me. In fact, I talked about it quite a bit. Usually, the school time, once you start, it is 9 or 10 whole months of a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and having to listen to the teacher that you have to go through. And usually September is the start of that road. Trust me, when I was a kid, I enjoyed every day of summer as I possibly could, because once I got back into school in September, that meant I had to do a whole lot of studying and a whole lot more essays and exams and all of that stuff. And because of that, it really was tiresome for me, because having to do it every single year up until I graduated college, trust me, it took a lot of time away from what I really wanted to do at the time, which was obviously just play video games. Still, when you were a kid, you obviously had to go through it, whether it's through your first grade in elementary school or through your senior year in college. Trust me, everybody has to go through it, because it's very important that if you want to graduate from school, you got to be able to study. But still, it is something that everybody dreads, because there are a lot of people that usually do not like going to school because of a whole bunch of different factors. Now, of course, that's a large part of it. Some of them, they really enjoy going back to school because they get to see a whole lot of their friends again, and that's a lot of fun. But still, all of that and then all the other factors that go along in there, like potential for a lot of chaos with trying to figure out all of your new classes, and also, just getting back into the swing of things because you've been out of school for literally 2 months. Trust me, it is the one thing that everybody dreads, and that was something that I dreaded when I was a kid. I'm just glad I don't have to go through any of that anymore, because I just hated that. Now, obviously, one of the fun things about the fall is Halloween, because obviously, usually, this is during the time where you are a kid, you get to go out in your favorite costumes and just go to strangers' houses and just, do trick-or-treating, get some candy from your strangers and all that stuff. In fact, it's really the one holiday where you're a kid where you're really allowed to go to a stranger's house, because, hey, it's free candy for you to have for at least the next couple weeks or so. But as an adult, obviously the fun for Halloween starts to fade away from you. All you can do is just, go out with your kids and really just, celebrate Halloween with them. Or sometimes if you don't have any kids, you can just decorate your house and have a couple of boxes full of candy and just have them out for when kids go to your house. You can just give them out for free candy for Halloween, obviously. I mean, yeah, you can enjoy that, but still, one of the things that I really hate as an adult is having to be asked what you're planning on doing for Halloween. Obviously, as adults, we don't do trick-or-treating anymore. We got lives that we gotta deal with. We got our 9-to-5 jobs, and we also gotta deal with a whole bunch of bills at home, and also we gotta deal with a whole bunch of other factors. Yes, we want to spend as much time as our kids, but obviously, if you are being asked as an adult what you're planning for Halloween instead of being a kid, something like that, I mean, still, that's a question that you should be asking your kids, not an adult. It gets a little tiresome after a while, because yes, I want to be out there with my kids, enjoying trick-or-treating with them and just watch them getting all their candies. I mean, that's if I ever become a dad. But still, when you're an adult, if you get asked that when this is something that when you were asked when you were a kid, trust me, it can get a little tiring after once in a while. I mean, yes, we're looking forward to Halloween because you get to be with your kids, you get to go out and have fun, but still, it's just being asked that so many times. I'm sorry, I just hate that. The other thing that goes along with that is having to decorate your house, because usually during the fall, the house is going to be decorated a lot, because this is when the majority of the fun holidays come around, and that's Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then obviously the holidays, which is Christmas. And yes, those are a lot of fun, and there are a lot of people that really enjoy that spirit, and a lot of the time they will decorate their houses as well. There will be a lot of people during Halloween that will have jack-o'-lanterns and then a whole bunch of other Halloween stuff. Sometimes there will be like a turkey and a whole bunch of other designs for their houses for Thanksgiving, and then obviously there's the Christmas decorations for your house as well. Maybe a snowman, a huge Santa Claus, and maybe some reindeers as well, and a whole bunch of other decorations as well. Now obviously you gotta set it up, but still, there are some people, and this is something that really annoys me sometimes, some people leave them up for far too long after that holiday is passed. Like after Halloween, for some reason, I've seen a few instances where some people have left their decorations for that holiday up for a couple weeks longer than they really should. And then the same thing goes for Christmas. I mean, really? Like, why are you leaving your holiday stuff out, like, literally a couple days after Christmas is over? I mean, it's mid-January already. Shouldn't that be taken down by now? And then there are some people that just decorate way too early. Maybe sometimes, like, in the middle of November, they already start putting up their Christmas stuff. I mean, hey, that's fine. I mean, Thanksgiving is traditionally a part of the holiday spirit, obviously, but still, when are you going to really take that down? I mean, I really understand the need to have to decorate your house to celebrate the holidays, but once the holiday is over, you gotta really take all of that stuff down at some point. I love the holiday spirit. I mean, it's a lot of fun to be able to decorate, but still, decorating the house, it takes a lot of time to do. And then once it's done, you gotta take them out at some point. I mean, obviously the one thing you love to do is really just get some rest and all that stuff, but still, once the holiday is done, you gotta then undecorate it. And that takes a lot more time consuming. And trust me, there are a lot of people that would rather enjoy just having a lot of fun with doing other things instead of having to do stuff like that. I mean, obviously it's the holidays, you gotta enjoy it. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, everybody has their decorations up for their house at some point, but you gotta take them down at some point. Maybe don't decorate it too early, and obviously, once everything is done, you gotta make sure that your house is in order. Otherwise, leaving it out for too long, it's gonna make you feel like that you think it's still December, and I just hate that. Next thing you know, during the fall is when flu season really starts to pick up. Obviously, during this time, we're dealing with a lot of COVID and all that stuff, but also the flu is still very well prevalent, which you know what that means, more ads on the TV talking about getting your flu shots. Now trust me, I'm a guy that rarely if ever gets sick. I mean, usually once every fall, I would usually get sick or something like that, but it's not really serious sick. I'll still be able to work from home during that time and get all my stuff done. But still, it's not necessarily like the flu and all that stuff. I really understand the need for everybody to stay healthy during this time, but really, you can just best do that by just staying warm, by having a heater in your home and having some hot chocolate or hot cocoa, and really just, just getting some warm clothing on, like a sweater and all that stuff. I mean, obviously you gotta get the flu shot if you're prone to being sick. I mean, it's very important during this time, but still, why do you have to continue to blast this on our TVs and on our car radios during this time of the year? Like, literally, it's a thing every single day. Look, we already know we have to get the flu shot. You don't have to continue to blast this literally every single day. We get it. I mean, obviously, there are still other people that ignore it and just don't get the flu shot, and they're just fine. I mean, I get it, but still, those that are tending to get sick the most, they really need to get the shot during this time, and I definitely understand that. But hey, the more and more you drill this into their heads, it's obviously going to get a lot more annoying at some point. And at some point, people are just going to be asking to just flip the TV channel because they cannot stand seeing another ad telling you to, hey, get the flu shot. We already get it at this point. We don't need to continue to see this during the fall and the winter. We already understand how important it is to get the flu shot. So don't blast it into our brains continuously, because otherwise we are just going to get annoyed. And I just hate that. One of the things that I most hate about the fall is what are you going to have to wear during this time? I mean, as I said before, during this time, the temperatures are really going to drop, which means you gotta have to find a lot of warm clothing to put on to stay warm during the course of the summer. Now, most of the time, people out there are going to be wearing long sleeves. Obviously, like some long sleeve collared shirts or long sleeve non-collared shirts. That's obviously very important. A lot of people tend to wear sweaters during this time, which is very popular. Then you also have your sweatshirts and your sweatpants and all that stuff. And then obviously, some people, they just go out in suit and ties, whatever they are, going out for work or something like that. That's usually very prevalent during the fall season. But there are guys that really don't really have a whole lot of that, which means how are you going to be able to stay warm? I mean, you got your jackets that you can go out whenever it's raining or ultimately it then starts snowing later on in the fall. But still, that's not going to be good enough, because if you still have a short sleeve shirt underneath a jacket and you don't have like a sweatshirt or something like that, still, you're going to get very, very cold. And if you don't have a whole lot of that clothing, you're probably going to risk running out of long sleeve clothing very, very quickly. And then you have to go to the laundromat just as quickly as you used them, get them all washed, and then really just get them dried out and then wear them all over again, because literally you only have very few of that clothing, and then the rest of your clothing is all just shorts and short sleeve shirts or maybe even tank tops and all that stuff. That's not clothing that you usually wear during the fall. It's only worn during the summer, and really the only time you wear short sleeve clothing during that time or shorts is when you're going to the gym. It's very important that you keep your closet intact with a whole bunch of long sleeve clothing. You need to make sure that you have a whole lot of jackets with you, a whole lot of sweaters, a whole lot of long pants, and a whole lot of long sleeve clothing, because it's going to be very important for you during this time of the year. Because if you're not, all that short sleeves that you're going to be wearing is going to get you and really make you sick, and that could be a big, big problem. And yeah, obviously you gotta stay warm during the fall. You gotta have your heaters with you, but you also gotta dress very, very appropriately during this time, because if not, you're likely going to be in your bed asking for chicken noodle soup, and you do not want to miss any single day of work, all because you were a guy that was stupid enough to wear a short sleeve shirt in the middle of 30 to 20 degree weather, and I just hate that. And finally, it obviously gets much darker during the summer. In fact, it starts getting darker a lot earlier during this time of the year, because around November, daylight savings time ends, and they take an hour away from you, and as a result, you're getting days where literally it turns dark out at 5 p.m. I mean, I did a video at one point talking about why daylight savings time should end, because obviously there should be more time in the day to go out and really do a whole lot of good things, just have some time with your friends, go try something new and just really enjoy life. But once daylight savings time ends, because of, the less amount of time in the day to go out and really enjoy everything before it gets dark, you have very few options unless you can be very creative. I mean, yeah, you can go out at night, you can do a dinner date or two, maybe go see a movie or something like that, but hey, obviously more daylight daylight is very important. Unfortunately, you can't do that during the fall because once you get home, it's obviously already going to be dark out. The moon's probably already going to be coming up, and as a result, you're already being left with wondering, hey man, when's that summer weather going to come back again? Trust me, that's literally me during this time of year. I enjoy more daylight, and something that I really hate is once it starts getting dark very early, because then you're already thinking about the next day instead of during the summer, because you're already thinking during that time, what am I going to do for work, and then also, just preparing everything for the day. During the summer, you don't have to worry about that until later in the day, because the sun doesn't usually set until sometime around like 8 or 9 or something like that. I mean, that's where daylight savings time is, you obviously get that extra hour of daylight, you get to enjoy a lot of life, but once you take it away, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to enjoy life. And that's why I'm hoping that at some point we can finally make daylight savings time permanent, because obviously we need more time during the day, and having an extra hour of daylight is going to allow us more time to be able to enjoy life and really get out there and just enjoy the beautiful weather. Because trust me, once you take away that 1 hour of daylight, it's going to be like the day's already over before you knew it. And the next thing you know, you're probably already tired, you're already groggy, and you're already thinking about the next day. And trust me, we are already dreading about the next day it is. And unfortunately, once it starts getting dark very early, it's going to become all too common during the fall and winter. And trust me, I just hate that. Alright, that's going to do it for my venting here. Obviously, the fall can be a whole lot of fun, but again, there are still a whole lot of things about the season that can really tend to make people annoyed, especially with everything that I just mentioned in this video. So I would like to hear from you. What are some things about fall that you enjoy, and also what are some things about fall that you really hate? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I'll be more interested in hearing your opinions about it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, projects, or challenges, you name it, leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you're having another great day, and as always, I hope to see you all again in another video very soon. Stay warm, everybody.